Fontaine-de-Vaucluse is a commune in the Vaucluse department in the Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur region in southeastern France. Heraldry. The coat of arms of the village of Fontaine-de-Vaucluse is blue, with a trout on a grayling, poised horizontally. Geography. Fontaine-de-Vaucluse is built around a spring in a valley at the foot of the Vaucluse Mountains, between Saumaine and Lanes, not far from L'Isle-sur-la-Sorgue. It is named after the spring, the source of the river Sorgue. Hydrography. The fountain, or spring, of Vaucluse, situated at the feet of a steep cliff 230 meters high, is the biggest spring in France. It is also the fifth largest in the world, with an annual flow of 630 million cubic meters. The fountain of Vaucluse surges in March for about 5 weeks and then subsides. The increased flow of water swells the Sorgue to flood. The mechanism behind the surging remains somewhat of a mystery. History. This village of 600 inhabitants was once called Vaucluse of the Closed Valley, and it gave its name to the French department of Vaucluse. Several trails indicate human occupation in the area since the Neolithic era. Its spring has been the object of a major cult since antiquity, and the Sorgue was used as a trade route by the Phoenicians of Massalia and later the Romans. Following some major discoveries from 2 cave dives by the SSFV, 2 archaeological sites under the protection of the SRA Parker has allowed more than 1,600 antique coins from the 1st century BC to the 5th century AD to be brought back up to the surface. In the Middle Ages, a hermit supposedly lived in the spot. Eventually, he performed miracles that led to his being consecrated as Bishop of Cavaillon. His successor, Wilcardus, received the consent of the ruling counts of the area to settle monks there. A monastery was constructed, but was ruined by the 11th century. Clement, the Bishop of Cavaillon, ordered its reconstruction by his son, Abbot of Saint-Victoire. The poet Petrarch made it his preferred residence in the 14th century, writing, "The illustrious source of the Sorgue, famous for itself long ago, became even more famous by my long stay and my songs." Petrarch, Seniles, X2. The poet left in 1353 after his son's death. The village was razed shortly afterward by bandits, who withdrew at the sight of the intimidating episcopal seat. A museum stands on the spot of Petrarch's house today. Following this attack, the village and valley fell into oblivion. Thought of as a wild place, it was avoided through the 16th and 17th centuries. Vaucluse was again popularized by a duel between the famous Honoré Gabriel Riquetti and Louis-François de Galifet. A letter published by Riquetti brought fame to the area again, and a column was built to honor Petrarch in the 18th century. In 1946, Jacques Cousteau and another diver were almost killed while searching for the bottom of the spring. An air compressor used to fill the tanks had taken in its own exhaust fumes and produced carbon monoxide, nearly killing them before they could return to the surface from a depth of approximately 100 meters. Demographics. Historical population 1962 to 1968, 1975 to 1982, 1990 to 1999, 2006 to 685 places and monuments. The principal point of interest is the source of the Sorgue at the foot of a cliff 240 meters high. Its average flow is 22 meters 3 per second, the highest in France, and can attain 110 cubic meters after the snow melts. It wasn't until 1985 that the mystery of its origin was partially revealed. In effect, the lowest point is at -308 meters depth, attained by a robot belonging to the Spelunking Society of Fontaine-de-Vaucluse. Vaucluse. The spring is the only exit point of a subterranean basin of 1,200 square kilometers that collects the water from Mount Ventoux, the Vaucluse Mountains, and from the Lieu Mountain. Ruins of the Castle of the Bishop of Cavaillon. Ancient paper mill. Museum of the Resistance. Petrarch Museum. Santon Museum. Personalities. Fern-en-Maçonnier. Gallery.